For any Xbox or PlayStation codes or cheap games on any platform, use the referral link in the description. It'll take you to g2a.com. Use the promo code CHES over there and you'll get yourself 3% cash back. For all No Identity merchandise, hats, hoodies and t-shirts, follow the link in the description down below to the No Identity Fan Fibre website. Hey guys, welcome to my Premier League predictions video for 2017 into 2018. I've been meaning to make this for a while now, and considering the season starts this weekend, it's about time I finally got the video made, isn't it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through team by team, probably in alphabetical order, but leaving out the top 6, and we'll come to those at the end. And I'll lay out what I think is going to happen this season. Feel free to let me know in the comment section whether you think I'm right, whether you think I'm wrong, what you would alter from my predictions. And feel free to tweet me your thoughts as well. There's a link in the description to my Twitter, as always. So we're going to jump straight in. Like I say, we'll go down in alphabetical order, but I'll miss out Arsenal, both Manchester sides, Chelsea, Tottenham and Liverpool until the very end. And then you'll know my predictions for the top 6. Right at the very end, rather than going through in alphabetical order and just starting with Arsenal and putting them fourth. We'll start with Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth finished 9th last year, had a very, very good season, and they have, they missed Callum Wilson for a bit of the season. They're not going to have Jack Wilshere this year, of course, in the midfield as well. I do see them staying up, but I don't see them doing as well as they did last year. Eddie Howe did a tremendous job with them last year. They finished on 46 points, which is actually level with Southampton above them in 8th. But I'd say Bournemouth probably going to finish, I'm going to say 13th this year. Comfortably staying in the Premier League, but not able to reach the top half like they did last year. Following Bournemouth is Brighton. Brighton obviously promoted into the league this year. I apologise, Brighton fans. I don't think it's going to be a very good season for you guys. I see you struggling to stay in the league. Perhaps you might get the odd upset here and there, but I think all told it's going to be a very disappointing season. I think Brighton are probably going to finish 18th or 19th. I'm going to go 19th for Brighton and Hove Albion. Apologies, Brighton fans. I just don't think your squad is good enough to compete over the course of a full season in the Premier League. After Brighton are Burnley. Now, Burnley obviously just managed to survive last year, finishing in 16th place, level on points with 17th place Watford, but they were both 6 points clear of the relegation zone. Burnley are a side that can either play really solid defensive football and actually grind out results, or they get hammered. So it's a tough one to predict, Burnley, but I do think Sean Dyche will be able to keep them up again. I think he'll do it. And actually, to be fair, I'm probably going to predict that they're going to finish 16th as well. I think they'll repeat last season's feats and finish exactly where they did last year. Up next is Crystal Palace. Now, last year they had a really indifferent season, like polar opposites from the first half to the second half of the year. Sam Allardyce came in and completely turned that team around. They got 21 defeats all told, which is actually one more than Middlesbrough, who got relegated in 19th. So they lost a lot of games last season, but they have strengthened in the window, and they finished 14th last year. They could do better. They could do better. I'm going to say Palace is a tough one, I'm going to say 11th for Crystal Palace. If they can have a solid start to the season and keep that going, I think they could finish as high as 11th. Everton have had an extremely strong transfer window. Yes, they've lost Romelu Lukaku. As I record this, there are still heavy rumours revolving around Ross Barkley and a potential exit from the club, but they have brought in a number of new signings, all of which look like they're going to be able to do a job for them in the first team. So they finished 7th last year. And I'm leaving out the top 6 here in this predictions, and I think Everton will finish 7th again. They really genuinely could, if they have a strong season and perform to their full potential, push for a Europa League spot. But I think for the sake of this predictions video, I'm going to leave Everton in 7th, and we'll just have to wait and see if those new signings can actually make the difference and push them into the top 6. But I'll go with 7th for now. After Everton come Huddersfield Town. Now, they're a side that got promotion through the playoffs, of course, last year. They haven't been in the top flight for ages, absolutely decades, in fact. But I have an affiliation with Huddersfield. It's where half of my family are from. My entire dad's side of the family are from Huddersfield and all support Huddersfield, etc. So I have a strong affiliation with the town and with the team. I've been to a number of Huddersfield Town games, also to a Cambridge versus Huddersfield Town game, although obviously in the Cambridge United end. But as much as I love the town and I love my family, I think Huddersfield are going to finish rock bottom of the Premier League next year. I don't see them doing anything at all in the Prem. And I'm sorry, guys, but I think it's going to be 20th place for Huddersfield Town. The champions from the season before, Leicester, finished 12th last year in the Premier League. They have strengthened a little bit by bringing in Kelechi Iheanacho from Manchester City, who could create quite a deadly pairing with Jamie Vardy up top, to be fair. Riyad Mahrez is still at the club at present, but is still under continuous bids from Roma, and I'm not sure whether there's interest from elsewhere as well. Whether he stays at Leicester is debatable between now and the end of the transfer window at the end of the month. Like I say, they finished 12th last year. I think they could probably do slightly better. They could probably do slightly better. I'm gonna throw Leicester in. I think Kelechi's goals will make a difference, especially if he gets enough first team football to actually make a difference, which he didn't get the opportunity to at City. I think I'm going to throw Leicester in at 10th next season, or this upcoming season, this season as it is now. Leicester City, in my opinion, will finish 10th. Up next, Newcastle United. They were expected to destroy the Championship last season, and despite winning the title, they only got it because Brighton kind of slipped up and let it go. Rafa Benitez stayed with them after getting relegated, obviously, and has brought them back up the first time of asking via a first-place finish. I don't think they'll be overly competitive in the Premier League. I think it'll be a bottom-half finish. I mean, they could push towards the mid-table, like upper mid-table spot. But I think I'm probably going to plump for. I'm going to go. Newcastle's a hard one because the size of the club, such a massive team, a massive club, but I don't know whether the squad is strong enough at present to actually do much in the Premier League, as obviously the money in the Premier League level has gone up and up and up and up and up, and taken a drastic change in just the 12 months that Newcastle were out of the league. I don't know whether they're going to be able to compete too much next season with all of the financial just superiority, I guess, all the other teams in the league have had, and been able to use that superiority in this transfer window. I'm going to say 14th for Newcastle next year, which I'm sure they'd be happy just to stay up. At least realistic fans will be happy just to stay up next year. But Newcastle fans do like to over-predict, as has been, no offence to Newcastle fans, this is just my general take on Newcastle fan behaviour over the past decade or so. They got that season where they finished 5th or 6th, I think, under Alan Pardew, and even since like the mid-90s when they finished 2nd. Newcastle fans always seem to, because of the size of the club, seem to expect a little bit more than what the team is actually good enough to do. I'm going to say 14th, even though I'm sure the fans would love to finish inside the top 10. I don't quite think the squad is good enough to do that. Up next are Southampton. Now, they had, to be fair, a very decent season last year, finishing in 8th place, a number of points behind Everton in 7th, 15 in fact behind Everton in 7th, so they were definitely not in touch with those European spots at the top of the table. Nola Gabbiadini came in January and actually did very well for them. As I record this, Virgil van Dijk is still at the club, but obviously in the process of being moved on. And my friend CJ, who's a diehard Southampton fan, is extremely pessimistic about their fortunes for the upcoming season. I, on the other hand, am not so pessimistic with their chances this year. I reckon they could probably finish. They finished 8th last year. I reckon they could probably finish 9th this season. I'm gonna be on the positive side for Southampton. I don't think they're going to be as bad as a handful of the fans actually think they might be, and I'm going to say 9th for Southampton this year. After Southampton come Stoke City. They finished in 13th, I think, last year. If I just check the table next to me, yeah, 13th for Stoke last year. Level on points with Leicester in 12th and only a single point behind West Ham and West Brom in 11th and 10th respectively, and only 2 points behind Bournemouth and Southampton in 9th and 8th respectively. So very, very tight in the mid-table last year. I think they'll have a similar season. They've got Kurt Zouma in on loan now from Chelsea, and hopefully he'll get a lot of first-team football and get some experience. He's very, very good centre-back. I rate Kurt Zouma quite highly, although obviously, as a Chelsea fan, perhaps might be slightly biased. I reckon Stoke could finish relatively well this year, as they did last year. I'm going to say 12th for Stoke for the upcoming season. I reckon they can have another solid mid-table season. After Stoke comes Swansea. Now, they had another, similar to Palace, a rather polar opposite season. They were awful, absolutely terrible for the majority of the year, but somehow managed to turn it around and stay up at the end of the season. I don't think they're going to be that fortunate again this upcoming year. I think, personally, Swansea are going to struggle again, and I'm going to put them down in 18th and the final relegation spot for the upcoming Premier League season. Sorry, Swans fans, but I just don't think you're going to be able to do it this year. Watford come next. They last year were the one step above the relegation zone last season, finishing in 17th. They have brought in Andre Gray from Burnley for a large fee, actually. I think it was about 19 million. I might be mistaken. Feel free to correct me in the comments if I am. But Watford is such a tough one. Such a tough one. I think they'll probably finish in 17th again. I don't see them really progressing that much, despite the introduction of Andre Gray to the side. And I'm gonna plump for 17th again for Watford. Sorry, Horns fans. I think you'll stay up, but it's still going to be a bit of a nervy season for you down the bottom. After Watford come West Brom. Now, they're such a difficult team to predict because obviously the side is quite small. The club is quite small, but the manager's just so good at pulling stuff out. Tony Pulis just does wonders wherever he is. I don't really know how he does it because just season upon season, he outperforms every single club he's at, or with every single club he's at. They finished 10th last year, West Brom, but as we mentioned, it was very, very tight in that mid-table. Only a couple of points separating 8th and 13th. I'm going to put West Brom down in 15th for next season. They could prove me wrong, and probably will prove me wrong. Tony Pulis normally does. They could finish up towards where they finished last year in 10th spot, but for the sake of this video, for my Premier League predictions, I'm going to throw West Bromwich Albion in 15th. Considering there's still only one slot outside the top 6, you can probably tell that West Ham are going to be my choice for 8th place. Very strong transfer window for them. They struggled last year for the majority of the season after having a great season the year before, of course. Dimitri Payet kind of not making a name for himself, but kind of proving himself in the Premier League after being superb in Ligue 1 for a number of seasons. Now back in Ligue 1, obviously. But West Ham have made some great signings. Chicharito is going to be superb for them. Marco Arnautovic is really going to strengthen them as well. And they made a couple of other signings that are going to be very, very solid. I think they'll finish in 8th place, West Ham. I'm predicting another decent season for them. Not quite going to push into those European spots, but I think they'll do very, very well. I think West Ham fans would probably take 8th as well after last year. So 8th for West Ham. Into the top 6 we go then. Starting in 6th, working our way up. Finishing 4th last year. I think Liverpool will finish 6th this upcoming season. With all of the extra games they're going to have from playing in Europe. And potentially still the Felipe Coutinho deal could still go through with him going to Barca. That's still all up in the air as I record this. I don't think Liverpool will have a stronger season this upcoming year as they did last year. And I see Liverpool finishing in 6th place. I know Liverpool fans constantly think and would like to believe that they're a top 4 team, but I just don't see it for this upcoming season. Sorry, Reds fans, but I think Liverpool will finish in 6th this year. This might come as a bit of a shock to some of you, considering they made such a big striking signing in this window, but I think Manchester United will finish in 5th this season. Jose Mourinho's tactics last year didn't work. The season before at Chelsea, they didn't work. And I have a funny feeling this year, despite the improvement in personnel, most notably, of course, Romelu Lukaku up top, I still don't see them breaking into the top 4 again. I'm sorry, Man United fans. I know a lot of people are going to predict that Man United will finish inside the top 4 and maybe even challenge for the title, but I just don't see it personally. I mean, it's all subjective, and I'm sure I'll get slated for it in the comments, but I think Manchester United will finish in 5th this season. Much as you guys would love to see me put Arsenal in 4th, I don't think they will finish in 4th place. 4th for me is going to be Tottenham Hotspur. They haven't made, as I record this, any major signings whatsoever. They've lost Kyle Walker, of course, and it's heavily rumoured that Danny Rose might be leaving the club in the not-too-distant future as well. They finished 2nd last year, they finished 2nd the year before, but whilst Tottenham fans believe in Pochettino and what he's doing, I'm sure they'd like to make a couple of signings before the end of the window comes around, but with other teams improving, Chelsea brought new signings in, Manchester City brought new signings in, Arsenal brought new signings in, decent signings as well for a change. I think Tottenham will finish in 4th, meaning that I think Arsenal, with the signing of Alexandre Lacazette, will finish up in 3rd place. They finished 5th last year, and obviously will be playing in Europa League this season, but I think Arsenal will improve. I think Alexandre Lacazette is what they've been missing up top, and I think he will make a big impact to their season. If Alexis stays, which it looks more and more likely that he will, then I think he and Lacazette could be the difference for Arsenal this year, and I think they'll finish in 3rd. So then, the top 2. Last season it was Chelsea, Tottenham, Manchester City. We only have Chelsea and Manchester City left to select from. Now, obviously, Chelsea have made some good signings. Manchester City have spent over 100 million on defenders alone. And because of the quality of those defensive signings and the nature of those players, i.e. Kyle Walker, Benjamin Mendy, etc., the way I think they'll suit Pep Guardiola's style of play perfectly, much as it pains me to say as a Chelsea fan, I'm going to go Manchester City to win the league and Chelsea to finish in second. I do think it will be a tight run thing, and I think it will go down to the last 2 or 3 games of the season, maybe even down to the final day. But I do see Manchester City stepping up this season, getting themselves back up towards the title fight. They were a full 15 points away from Chelsea last year, and I think they'll actually win the league this upcoming season. If Sergio Aguero can stay fit for the majority of the year, which he probably won't, but even when he does play on the rare occasion, he still scores a shed ton of goals and challenges for the Golden Boot. So I see Manchester City winning the league and Chelsea finishing in second. I'd love Chelsea to win it, back-to-back titles, but I don't see it happening, unfortunately. But time will tell. Time will tell. Let me know what you think of my my Premier League predictions in the comments section down below. Let me know your thoughts as well with regards where you think sides are going to finish. Where do you think your team's going to finish? What do you think the top 4 is going to look like? Who do you think is going to get relegated? Let me know on Twitter as well. The link is in the description to that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. It's always a very controversial video to make because, of course, opinions in football are so wide-ranging and there tends to be a lot of toxicity. So try not to be quite so toxic in the comment section. Be appreciative of the fact that other people may have different opinions to you. I may have different opinions to you. Just because my opinion is different doesn't mean it's any less valid than yours. But that's going to be all for this video. Drop the video a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel too to make sure you don't miss out on any further content. Fatal is starting on the channel this weekend. I mean, Fatal for the very first time. And hopefully you guys will enjoy that when it goes up. So please make sure you show that series plenty of support when that video goes up. It should be up later today, I believe. But for now, that's all from me for this one. Thank you very much for watching. Best of luck with the upcoming season. I'll see you next time.